He did the Monster Mash.
The Monster Mash.
It was a...
Oh, hey, what's up, you guys? How's it going? It's Papa, and today I actually just got second at my locals before Rage of the Abyss, but this deck is also very compatible post Rage of the Abyss, but I played 60 card Spright. Now, if you want a deck that is very affordable, if you want a deck that is essentially going to be quite essential for the upcoming format, if you don't want to spend a bunch of money on Rage of the Abyss cards, aka Mulcharmy. If you want something that's just a lot of fun, something nice and easy to play, I would always recommend this deck. Now, don't get me wrong, you can play Spright without 60 cards in the deck, but I had a friend challenge me to play 60, and well, that's exactly what we did. My only loss in the entire tournament was to Dinomorphia, and that's just because of the unfamiliar of the matchup, but honestly the deck was still a lot of fun. The deck was really solid. There's no hand traps in this deck. Also, just a little small disclaimer, there is 60 cards in this deck, so I don't want to be saying way too much right now because there is quite a lot that we got to get through. Like, look at this thing. This is a brick of cards, and it's a lot to go through. But before we do start the deck profile, I want to go ahead and just ask you guys to please like and subscribe for more content, because if you like and subscribe, it lets me know that I'm doing something right. But yeah, starting off with the main deck, of course, since it is Spright, we are on our 3 copies of Spright Blue, and then we are on 3 copies of Spright Jet. We are on the 1 Pixies still, 1 copy of Spright Red, and 1 copy of Spright Carrot. And we are also on 3 copies of Spright Starter and 1 copy of Spright Double Cross to round off the Spright component. If you've seen my last, I want to say 6 or 7 Spright deck profiles that it's been now, you have seen that this has been my go-to lineup. I don't play Smashers, I don't play Gamma Burst in the main deck. I just don't think those cards are really needed in the main deck. You really just need Double Cross because you're essentially ending on Toad every single turn, and having the Double Cross is just way more important than having a dead Smashers or a dead Gamma Burst. But that's going to go ahead and do it for the Spright component of the deck. It is only about, I want to say, like 12 or 13 cards. Another reason why we don't play Gamma Burst is because we are on the Runics. So we are playing 2 copies of Runic Fountain, 3 copies of Runic Tip, 3 copies of Runic Slumber, 3 copies of Runic Destruction, 3 copies of Runic Freezing Curses, 3 copies of Flashing Fire, 1 Dispelling, and 1 Smiting Storm to round off the Runic component. Basically, another reason, of course, like I said, why you don't play Gamma Burst is because most of the time you don't have a battle phase. You essentially just have these cards for extra forms of interruption. These cards are very good at cracking boards going second, and they basically just help you keep seeing engines. So cards are really great. I didn't have a single complaint with the whole Runic engine. If anything, I opted to want to play like 1 more Runic card, either another copy of Dispelling or another copy of Smiting Storm. But honestly, all the Runics were very good. I had no issues with them at all the entire tournament. If anything, like I said, I just wanted to have more. But that's it for the Runic component. So for our starters of the deck, of course, we are on playing 1 copy of Hyperia. This card gets sided out a lot of the time, but I honestly just really needed to make it to 60, so I just played 1 of this, and I drew it once, drew me a Runic, and the game was basically over. So definitely a really cool card to play. We were then on 3 copies of Nimble Beaver. Card is also just insane. We played 3 copies of Nimble Angler, mainly because, again, you are playing the Runics, so being able to discard this off of a Runic card is just very good. Whew. And then also the whole point of Angler is that this card basically summons out your beavers from the deck, and it is not once per turn, so you can use the effect once, and then if it gets stopped, then you can send another off of like Sprint or a Runic, whatever it is, even Foolish, and you basically just get to summon 2 beavers anyway. So very good card. We were on 3 copies of Swap Frog. Normally I play 2 copies, but since we are playing 60, I opted to play 3, and it was very strong. And then we play 1 Mirror Mage with the Ice Barrier and the Freezing Chains to go with it. That way you can make your Toad. So that's going to do it for the level 2 lineup. It is very simple, very straight to the point. I don't really think you need anything more. I think these cards did more than enough for me. Probably like the bittersweet engine of the deck was I played a small Kashtira package. You play the 1 copy of Wraithsoth with 2 Fenrirs, and I played 1 Unicorn and 1 Birth. Honestly, I think moving forward, if I wanted to play this deck again, I would cut the Unicorn and the Birth, and I would play 2 Fenrir with the planet, and then a Scareclaw Kashtira, mainly because I would see myself in situations where I'm adding Fenrir off of Fenrir because I would want to have a discard for the Runic cards. And then every time I added Unicorn off of Fenrir, I basically couldn't really summon it, so it wasn't really too important to have. So I just opted to side these out most of the time, basically. So these cards weren't really that good. I think if anything, like I said, I would just play Scareclaw Kashtira, just moving forward. That way you have something that's actually summonable. So that's it for the Kashtira component. And then like the only forms of like interruption I played was just 3 copies of Talents in the main deck, and then 3 copies of Dark Ruler in the main. The reason behind these is that I didn't want to play hand traps because you're already playing 60 cards, so odds of you drawing a hand trap and a playable hand are not really that good. I essentially wanted every card in my hand to be playable, and I didn't really want to have too many non-engine cards. So I just thought having 3 Talents and 3 Dark Ruler were enough because it answered problems like draw, basically being able to rip cards out of the hand, and then also just if you were to go second and you draw Dark Ruler, then you can just make Zeus and clear the board. So these cards were also very good. I don't think there was anything wrong with them. I think if anything, these should be a staple. And then just for some small fun ofs, we played 1 Call by the Grave. I actually drew this a couple times during the tournament, which is funny because you're playing 60. I played 1 copy of Foolish just to help you send like Nimble Angler, just in case you didn't open up a way to get 2 level 2s on the field, because basically this deck plays very well when you have 2 level 2s. And then I played 1 Terraforming because this card searches you Chicken Game, and then this also gets you to Runic Fountain, or it gets you to Pressure Planet. It just had many usages, so I just opted to play it. And then the last card I played in the main deck was the Angel Statue Azaroon, because we were still playing the Solo Hat Rabbit. But yeah guys, that is going to do it for the main deck. Again, it is 60 cards, no more, no less. I'm not playing grass. You don't really need grass in this deck. There's not really a whole lot of stuff that you really want in the graveyard. This is just a brick full of a bunch of good cards, a bunch of engines, and if anything, like you can argue to get like the Runics in the grave, but yeah, no grass, because we're still in a shifter format, and if you get shifted while playing grass, then you basically lose the game. Moving on to the extra deck, we had a little bit of an issue with this because the extra deck was just very, very tight, but we played 2 Gigantics, 1 Toad, 1 number 2 Mosquito, and then we played Downard, Zeus, and I played a Typhon. So basically the reasoning behind these cards is just very simple. Zeus is essentially your game breaker because Zeus is basically made every single time going second, essentially just to help clear the board. Worst comes to worst, you Dark Ruler your opponent, you attack, you Zeus them, and then if you have extra forms of extenders, then you can just make your own board. Which is also, again, why we play the Dark Ruler. Typhon actually came up quite a bit. I'm really glad I played this because this card was very good against Dynamorphia, and then it also was just very good to deal with anything that was problematic at the time. But honestly, the extra deck was very solid. Number 2 came up once. That was because I had double cross, but I didn't have a rank 2 on the field, so I just hard made this and just hope for the best, and it actually won me the game. So they're there. And then the rest of them are quite understandable. You need 2 Gigantics. Arguably, I never really needed the Downard. It was just there to really make it to where if I had to like bait twice with Zeus, or if I had to chain Zeus to an effect activation, it was just there for that. But it's really just there to be there. You can cut it, you can keep it, it really doesn't matter. So that's it for the Xyz lineup. And then for the links, we played 1 copy of Spright Sprin, 1 copy of Solo Hat Rabbit, 1 IP Masquerena, 1 copy of Little Knight. I had to borrow this because my QCR is on the way. 1 copy of the Dark Charmer just to help you link climb into your Access Code Talker, which also got made once and it won me the game. And then the last 2 cards in the extra deck were 2 copies of Hugin. I did not miss Gary. I was originally playing Gary, but I opted to cut it because the Runics aren't the best cards in the deck, but they are very good, don't get me wrong. But I never saw myself in a situation where I needed to add back Runic, Runic Fountain from the graveyard, so I just opted for 2 Hugins because Hugin is also just another way of playing the game since it is level 2. So that's going to do it for the extra deck. The side deck was probably the worst part of my deck, honestly. I didn't really use a lot of these cards because you're playing 60, so you don't really ever see them. I played the Red Resonator, of course. It's the best tuner in the game. 1 Nightmare Corruptor Ibly. This card just wins you games when your opponent lets you go first and they're playing like Tenpai or they're playing something else. But so you essentially just get to side in this, and then you just keep baiting your opponent. If you draw Runic Slumber, like essentially it's just a game over. Your opponent's never going to come back and win. And then we played Chaos Hunter, mainly because I am playing the Mannequin Cat in the side deck. So basically I would side out the, what's it called? I would just side out something from the extra deck, throw in the Mannequin Cat for basically when you get shifted, because again, since you're playing 60, you have a lot more cards that you need in the graveyard. So I opted to just play this for that, but I never ran into shifter today, so that's just what the theory of it was. 1 copy of Gamma Burst for going second. I played a couple more board breakers, still no hand traps. 2 Book of Eclipse, 2 Lightning Storm, 3 copies of Evenly Matched to basically round off the Board Breaker lineup. I thought they were fine. I actually drew evenly. I got Secret Village of the Spellcasters, and I had 4 spells in hand and a Spright Blue, I think, and then I drew evenly for turn, and the game was just over. So definitely play evenly, because it'll basically win you games that you can't win. And then we played 3 Judgment just to round off the side deck, because it is just the best card for going first. But yeah, guys, that is going to do it for the deck profile. It is honestly just a lot of fun to play. I know I talk about Spright a lot on the channel, but now that Rage of the Abyss is here by the time this video does go live, I do expect to be making a lot of Rage of the Abyss content, mainly because there's a whole lot of decks that I want to try out. I have a Snake Eye list that I have been playing that I really enjoy with all the new cards, with the Azamina stuff, with the Fiendsmith stuff. I have been testing that because, again, I am going to the YCS in Anaheim at the end of the, or not at the end of the month, towards the end of the year, I believe in December, but I have been getting ready for that. So I have a Snake Eye list I've been testing, and then I also have ABC, I have Rescue Ace, I have a whole bunch of stuff that I just want to basically try out and honestly just go from there. But yeah, guys, this was just something for fun, and if you want to try it, please give it a try, because honestly, I think this deck was a lot better than given hope for. But until next time, guys, this has been Papa, and until next time, I will catch you all in my next video.